Today, I'm going to break down how I use Photoshop to create unique art pieces that are animation ready. So feel free to follow along or download this project on my Gumroad. Link will be in the description, and you can use those files however you want. Today, what I'm mainly trying to do is, I really like this, and I was like, man, I used to make a lot of art pieces and then animate the art pieces. I don't really do that anymore because I've been trying to teach myself Blender. I really wanted to come back in and make another art piece. I was thinking about doing a vertical one so it'll fit on Reels and TikTok pretty simply. Starting things off, Command-Shift-Save, vertical art piece. Can I drag this outside of the artboard? I can. Can I delete the artboard? I can. Let's get on with this. Let's import some images. Open. Let's go to Documents, Assets.
Bruh.
These are all of the different models that I have taken from fair use places online. Most of these are Pexels. I'm going to be honest, 99% of these are from Pexels. This girl's face sitting down here, like her face is gone and it's down here, and it's just sitting right where the head is. That honestly might be super cool to do. But then we have to think of this in motion as well. Let's give that a shot. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's not that big of a deal. Let's take it over here. Command transform. And I don't like how low it is because usually text fits right there, right? So let's go M. Let's select this. Command copy, Command Shift V. V. Stretch. Yeah, that works great. I'm going to take this, I'm going to delete this background layer. I'm going to take this and drop it into a folder, and we're going to call this unedited assets. Just so that we have, we're going to make sure it's duplicated. So an unedited version is underneath everything. So anytime I want to go back, in case I screw something up, I can just do that. Let's start by removing this glass. So I'm going to go L, grab this. We're just making a selection. And then generative fill, generate. Let's see what some of these other ones look like. That's what I want right there. Grab all of these, go V, and then just move over. Honestly, we might even be able to move down a little bit and just scale it just so more of her is in scene. All right, so let's go like this and let's click on this top one. Control Alt Shift E is going to create a merged version up on top, and I'm just using this. And I'm going to hit V. And I'm going to go drag out. Command deselect. Oh, whoops, Control Z. I'm going to go W. I'm going to right click, select inverse. I'm going to go delete. Command deselect. There we go. So now we've kind of reframed this whole image. And we can, there's definitely some stretching here that you can kind of see, but like there's definitely a line going on right there, but I think it's a minimal at best. The next thing I want to do is go on to this image, which we're going to rename quickly and call it character. Rename this table extension. Shift tab, shift tab, shift tab, and this we are going to call scene extension. And I'm going to take the generative fill and I'm going to actually leave it down there. And then what else I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this. the character image, and we're going to hit L again. And I'm just going to select around here. And we're just going to generative fill remove this. And let's see what it comes up with. I like that. That's good. That's good. Because now I can take both of these and I can merge layers. And then I can take these and I can drop them down. Merge down. Well, I won't merge down yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this. Yeah, I'm going to have to merge down. Command deselect. What we're going to do is click on this and right click it and hit merge down. There we go. So we can go S for stamp tool, hit Alt or Option. And I'm going to grab this area. Do that. Grab this. I like that. Well, I'm going to grab this. That looks good enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove her face. Let's go V for Command Copy, Command Shift V, and we can set this right here. And then let's go Command Shift V. Now that's there. This is the face, so we're going to call this face. Here we are going to actually on this layer, we're not even going to click on the other one. We're just going to paint over this. So what I'm going to start with is Control U. There we go. I'm going to hit OK. And now I'm going to go Control U again. And we're actually going to colorize this. We're going to bring the saturation up and bring the value up until it's a color that I want it to be. Now, what I was thinking, because it's so warm, this image is already so warm, I think it would be cool if we had actually a blue or teal interior to her face. I think this color would be really cool to have. So I'm going to hit OK. And then what we're going to do, since we already have our character saved, and this is just that image that we already have in this unedited assets, we're allowed to mess with this image. So what I'm going to do with this is, now that we have this the color that we want it, I'm going to turn off, this is going to be face hole. Face hole. Deselect. And what we want to do is we want to remove some of this over here so that it kind of makes a little bit more sense. And the way that we're going to do that is actually with the stamp tool. So I'm going to click on character. I'm going to go S. I'm going to hit Alt, and I'm going to select this space over here. And then we're just going to kind of paint away her face a little bit. And why did I do that? I did that so that I can come into the face hole. And as you can see here, this is coming around to her temple. And so I want this to kind of loop in as well and come around to her temple, which means we need to erase part of the face. So with this face hole, I'm going to go and I'm going to click mask, and I'm going to go with my brush. We're going to definitely take that size down smaller, and we're going to go soft round. Actually, we might make it a hard round brush and just come in like that. And then I'm actually going to paint a little bit of this back in. Hit X, so I have a white brush selected, and that will paint this back in. And then I'm also going to hit X again, get the black brush, which will paint things out. And we can feather this just a little bit. And I'm doing this all with a mouse. Now you can, if you want to, use a tablet. Unfortunately, I use the cable for my tablet as a phone charger, and it ended up ruining my cable just because I was moving it around so much. So it now does not, the wires on the inside have been disconnected. And so this is great. I really like what's going on here. I just want to add some, get rid of some of these sharp edges and add some roundness here. And then what I will probably do is, actually Control Z that. Control Z that. Probably going to do is this. Now with this selected right above it, I can put another layer. This is face hole. And we can, in this, go hit the G key, Shift G to get the gradient tool. I actually might want to go with a spherical gradient just because it's supposed to be an interior. And we're going to press Alt and hold it and click in between layer 3 and the face hole. And we're going to rename the layer 3 to gradient or face hole gradient. Face hole gradient. And here, what I want to do is I want to go I, select this color, click this, and we're going to come in here and we're going to take the brightness on this down to 25. And I just want to give the illusion of depth here. And the nice thing about this is I can move this around until we get what we are looking for. And it's a completely editable gradient, which is just phenomenal. And we don't want it to be, let's go back into the color here on this side. This is smoothness. This is the middle. So this is the outer. And what I want to do here is I actually want to take the brightness down to about 20 or 13. Let's go like that. See, because now we're actually getting some darkness that is going to kind of match the shadows here. And I like that a lot. That's looking good. Cool. That's good. I don't need this mask here, so I'm going to delete that layer mask. The face hole does have a mask on it, so I'm going to leave that there. So now we have some files. We have some layers that are well labeled. We have backups of our layers that we might need to change later, which will be very useful. And the next step is actually going to be making an edge. Now, one thing I noticed is this is looping up, and then it's kind of coming, and then it's going down. So this needs to kind of match on this side as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit brush, and the nice thing is if I start removing this over here, it will remove the gradient because the gradient's also the face hole's also acting as a mask. So let's take this, and this is probably going to take a couple different tries. And take this down like this. And take this up like this. Now let's manipulate this a little bit. Well, and what I'm trying to achieve here, because the light should be coming all the way down and hitting down here, I don't want this to be as dark as it is down here. So I'm actually going to come and bring this down this way. We want the center of this this needs to be one of the lightest spots. Nice thing is we can kind of actually add that mask on this, and we can go. Actually, it would have the opposite effect. But we do have, if we go brush, we do have this darker color because we know that this color is the same color that we have just with 13 brightness. So I can go in here, I can click on this, I could go brightness 13, okay. And we could create a new layer above this, mask it down as well, and we'll call drawn shadow. Boom. And with our soft round brush, we can move the size up and we can take the opacity down to about 35%. And here we can kind of come in and just kind of draw this out. And that seems to be actually a little too strong. So I think I'm going to take this down to like 19%. And we can just take this brush up and just slightly take this down. And now once we add that edge in, I think it will look really, really good. So what I'm going to do now is drawn shadow is done. Now above that, we're going to name this layer whole edge. It's just what it is. And what are we going to do with that? Well, I'm going to go lasso, and I'm going to hit actually control on okay. I think I really want what's just shown here. So what I can do is I can take this and I can duplicate it up above, and then I can right click this and apply the layer mask. And now when I click on this, it will be selecting everything. And then from there, select inverse, and then it's selecting everything else. So now if I go lasso and I go alt click, actually we won't even do that. Control Z, we're going to go like this. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. And with this selected, I'm going to go brush. I'm going to go and select this highlight here. It's one of the brightest parts of the face. And I am going to change my brush to 100% opacity, right click and change it to a hard round brush. And we're just going to do this and paint this in. And remember, we're on a totally new layer here, so this is non-destructive. And then the reason that we are doing this is once we have face hole, I'm going to rename this face hole highlights. Highlights. And merge down. So whole edge. I didn't even need to do that. Highlights. And then I'm also going to take this up, duplicate it. I'm going to hide it. Command D for deselect. I'm going to hide this as well. Now I'm going to grab some of these shadows here. I'm going to go I, grab the shadow, select this. Oh, Control Z. Does this have that included? It shouldn't have that included. Hold on. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Now we are going to mask that. Delete this. Apply layer mask. Boom. drag this up, click on it. Now we'll cover this in. So this is going to be for shadows. And Command deselect. And so with both of these selected, I'm going to go Command transform, and we are going to not shift. We're just going to drag them in just a couple pixels. Boom. Deselect. Now what I can do is I can, on these, add a layer mask and hide this one. And I am going to paint the edge. And only where there should be highlights will I allow highlights. And the cool thing is this is going to be completely non-destructive because we are using layer masks. And so anytime I want to come back in and change maybe the edge width or anything like that, I can. Like, oh no, I just erased where I didn't want to erase. Oh, that's fine. I just hit X, and I just paint it back in. And what this does is it kind of gives a little bit of kind of thickness to the skin. So most of this will actually be shadow, which is fine. Then right about here, we'll start getting highlight again. And paint that back in. And paint this out a little bit just because this will be in shadow right here. Because we actually have the cheek showing there. So I'm actually just going to leave that exactly what it already is. That's what we're looking for. That looks great. And we can kind of add a little bit more of this back in. And just a little touch up here, a little touch up there. This will go much faster if you do have a tablet with a stylus. That will make this go a lot quicker. And then the cool thing is I can grab this layer mask and drag it onto the shadows, replace layer mask, turn the shadows back on, and then just with the layer mask selected, use the black brush to get rid of it. And now I can just come in and paint in the darker area, which is super, super helpful. And so here we just use the white brush to kind of add in a little bit of shadow. And here is almost going to be imperceivable shadow just because it's actually perfectly facing camera. So it should be pretty thin as far as that goes. And we can always go, oh, okay, is that a little too saturated? Control U. Oh, on this, Control U. And we can just brighten it up a little bit. Make it not so dark. and maybe take the saturation down a little bit. Okay. This is the type of stuff that doesn't need to be perfect. It can just be done. And Control Z. We can go like this and bring just a little bit of that shadow in. Just a little bit. Just kind of gives some thickness and some depth to that face. Like there really is thickness to it. She is missing that part of her face, which is kind of fun to do. Definitely makes it look a little more realistic and sells the look a little bit more. And it's so muddy and it's so like not perfect, but when you're just looking at it at a glance, it's exactly what we're looking for. You don't need to spend much more than that amount of time on it. And that just ends up working. Now, there's multiple things we can do here. Like, we can go V on this, and this face will be up above at the very top of everything. And we can bring it back here and try and line it up back with the face. And if you press and hold Control, it will let you move things without snapping, which is nice. And you can really get things lined up right where you need them to be lined up. And we might even be able to, oddly enough, scale this up just a little bit, right? Let's scale it up just a little bit more. And then it's just imperceivably, there is a line there, but it's imperceivable. And so we can have this in post kind of fly off. And there is down here a slight, you can kind of see stuff through it. So what we might do, just because on a phone screen that might be visible, what we might be able to do is hide the face and just make this a little smaller. So go brush with X, so that we have the and then click on the shadows, turn this back on. These don't need to be as big as they are. And this, honestly, there should be no highlights here in the first place. That looks really good. And when we turn the face on, almost all of that is gone, which is super great. It's super great. So let's go up here to the shadow and let's just remove that last bit and turn it off. Make sure it looks okay. Looks great. Looks fantastic. But that should be good there. I would like to remove her from the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to character here. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to merge these layers. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to merge it down. So now this whole background is one image. And then I'm going to go W, and I'm going to click this. Click this and click this. And I think it is selecting all of that. And then I'm going to I'm going to go I and click this just so I have the color selected. And with this character looking like that, I'm just going to click remove background or mask, because I've selected everything else. I'm masking out whatever is not selected. Unfortunately, that did select some of her clothes. So we're going to come back in here with the brush tool, press X so we have white, and we're just going to paint that back in. And that should be fine. I'll paint this back in as well. There's going to be some spots that it does kind of mess up on. Down here, check in here, maybe back here. That all looks good. Just double checking. And then this way, it looks like it grabs some of the background here. We don't want that, so we're actually going to remove that by pressing X and getting the black color on our masking brush. And then here we can see through a little bit, so white color on the masking brush, bring that in. Come back, X for the black, X, hold shift and move to the right to get a straight kind of a better line there. See, that looks great. That looks fine to me. And so now I can go new and drop this down below the character. And with G, Shift G, we already have our background color selected. I'm just going to add the background back in. What we can do with this is we can add a little bit of a gradient, but I think it looks kind of fine the way it is. Now, another thing we can do here is we can kind of change the color of all of this. So the way we can do that is actually in post. When we bring it into After Effects to animate it, we can throw an adjustment layer over the top as difference and go from there. But if we were going to do that properly, we'd have to make all of these black and white. I don't know if I want to do that, but let's just mess around with some colors here. Let's throw an adjustment layer up here. And let's, honestly, we don't even need an adjustment layer. We can just go, let's do an adjustment layer. It's fine. We'll just go G. We already have this tool. And I really like this color, but let's make it much more saturated, much more vibrant. So we'll bring the brightness and saturation up. We're already kind of working with that color, and we know we're in our color layer, color layer, and we'll just lay that over the top. And with that, we're going to change its blend mode to difference, and just see what it looks like. Hit Control U, and you can kind of come through that, and you can change the colors of this to make it a little bit more unique. This is probably one of my favorite colors to mess with in general. I just love how this looks. Nice thing about the difference layer is you can, once you have it very saturated and exactly where you want it to be, you can change the fill to make it affect less. And this is going to change a lot. We're going to go cancel. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to place a hue saturation above this, and I'm going to drop it there so that it's only affecting this. When I mess with these settings here, it's only going to be messing with this color. So what did we have? We had this all the way over here. We had this all the way up, and then we were bringing this down. What I want to know is by going V, especially if I have this locked, by going V, if I move the face, what does that make the color of the whole? And it's doing kind of an inverse thing. Kind of looks pretty cool. Would be interesting to do a particle effect pouring out of her face as this floats off. That would be cool to do. So just an idea for when we're in After Effects, the different types of effects we can do, the different color variations. And it's such a simple way to manipulate the entire mood of a scene or the mood of an art project. I think the difference blend mode is one of the most versatile blend modes that you can in there, just as far as a recoloring blend mode, getting different vibes, and the way that and so this is more of this right here is almost a complete inversion of what we just had. where everything is now much more pink, etc., etc. But I do not think that we will export that way, because I want to also keep this. I really think the colors in this are very pretty. They're very simple. And this is how we are going to export all of these items. First things first, we're going to export the background, and we're going to call this background. Make sure everything is labeled exactly how we want it to be. Now I'm going to turn the face off and the drawn shadow and all of these off, because those are all going to be on the character. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to export this as the background. So we're going to go Control-Alt-W, Shift, and export as a PNG. Make sure transparency is on. If you want to resize the image, resize the canvas, whatever you want to do, you can do that. Here over on this side, you have your file sizes. So what I'm going to do here is, and you can do it, double, triple size, and you can rename it double, triple, etc., etc. So what I am doing here is I'm exporting the background. We're going to hit export. We're actually going to create a new folder, and this is going to be animation assets. And here we're going to call this background. Turn off the background. Now we're turning on her face and the face hole and face hole gradient and the drawn shadow and the edge. And what we also might do here is on the face right here, I might go with an eraser and just actually erase this out until it starts actually erasing the face itself. Just because I do want stuff to be coming through the back of her head, maybe, possibly, maybe we'll do something back there, and I don't want there to be that. I could mask it in After Effects, but we are already finalized on this, so it's something that we can do now. I wouldn't have done it earlier. Earlier, I would want to preserve whatever's there for as long as I possibly can. And erasing is so destructive, masking it out would probably have been a better thing to do, to be honest with you. But since we already know that this is what we want, it's okay to erase. It's a scary thing to do. I really don't like doing it if I don't have to do it. I digress. Now we have the whole face, everything, except for, or the whole character and all of this mid. We got a background. We're going to have a midground, and we're going to have the foreground, which is going to be the actual face. But this is the next thing that we want to export. So we go Control-Alt-Shift and W, or Command-Option-Shift and W if you're on Mac. And we're going to export this. This is a character. Boom. And now that the character has been exported, we are going to go up to face, and we're going to turn the face on, and we're going to turn off everything else. Command-Alt or Control-Alt-Shift-W, Command-Option-Shift-W, and we are ready to go. Export, and we call this face. Boom. Perfect. Command-Save. Beautiful. So if you followed along, then you've created this wonderful art piece. If you want to learn how to take these pieces and animate them in After Effects, check out the next video. I think it'll be very useful for you.